Oh, we're here. Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
we're live.
Welcome. And we're live. Yeah. Oh, there's the little yellow dot. I didn't. It looked different this time. Welcome to another episode of That Business Podcast. This is the Saturday morning slash Friday morning kind of casual one, weekly recap. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing very good, Chris. How are you doing?
I got some
How was your
pictures
week?
of you at Oktoberfest yesterday, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I had to go a second time, believe it or not. Like every year, I promise to myself that I won't go on my own at least. Like I don't make an effort to go, but people drag you there. That's just how it is.
Drinking loves company, man. Drinking loves company. Yeah, that's cool. That's something I've never done, and it's kind of one of those things where you see all the pictures, and it
Yeah, I
definitely
told you
seems like a really fun thing.
you have to come here next year, definitely.
That would be a
And
good goal.
yeah, maybe we do some like ABP get together at the Oktoberfest.
Live from Munich.
Yeah, with listeners and all, that would be great.
Um, yeah, that would be an amazing fun time to just get blasted out there with a bunch of and talk apps the whole time. So this was a different week because I didn't even realize this, but all of them were interviews, and not only that, only one of them you were on because of the times of the interviews. So it's almost like did you even listen to the other two?
Um, Let me actually have a look. No, I did not yet. So I'm not into 105 and 106. I did listen to Dan.
Well, you were on
Then,
105.
excuse me?
You were part of 105.
Yeah, I mean 106. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
sorry. I was confused by the picture actually, but yeah, I was on that one.
Okay.
I didn't listen to 106 yet, but it seems like right out of our ballpark, like that's ASO and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, and we might as well mention this now. I mentioned it yesterday when I was interviewing Hugh, or 2 days ago, or talking to Hugh. Interview is kind of loose. Um, we're going to take 30 days off and use this time to catch up with some stuff with Opt-in Mobile and some of the other projects we're working on. And, I was thinking about this, but there's another kind of thing going on where like here's where I'm going with this. We had Hugh on, and we scheduled it like 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance to talk with Hugh about some of the changes in iOS 8 and how that was going to affect ASO and all this stuff. Well, he comes on the show, and a lot of the stuff that Apple's been promising for iOS 8 from the developer perspective isn't even released yet. So things like the analytics hasn't, the new iTunes Connect dashboard hasn't been released yet. So there hasn't been a whole lot of developer-facing changes. I mean, that's not true. There's bundles, and there's videos, and there's new preview screens and everything, and there's new layout for search and all this kind of stuff. But um, the big things, the thing I was most looking forward to was the analytics. That's not even out yet. And I don't even know when it's supposed to come out. I'm kind of surprised it's not out yet.
Yeah,
Um,
who would have expected that Apple wouldn't launch a service on time?
well, if you look at the last
It,
like 3 weeks, it's been a mess up after mess up. It seems like, but
yeah.
they also sold 10 million devices in 1 week, so they're still doing something right. But yeah, it seems like they're struggling right now in some fronts. Uh, in fact, you'll go onto Twitter with some of the guests that we've had or guests we've got targeted. They'll be like, "Oh, come on, Apple, you're better than this," and what's Apple doing? And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's not just you and I saying, "Oh, this seems weird." It's a lot of folks are weighing in, not understanding. Longtime Apple fans not understanding what's going on. Um, so
Yeah, I think I do understand. Um, it's more like I expected, right? It's not like even I'm surprised that they don't get this off the ground.
why?
Well, because Apple doesn't do services really well.
Yeah,
Never
yeah,
has
that's
been,
true.
right? So, uh, latest and I think most embarrassing screw up was the live event, live
Yeah,
stream,
yeah,
where they can't like spread their own marketing. It seems like weird, just very weird that they
Yeah.
have problems doing this.
Yeah, I saw a funny tweet about that. I mean, this is 3 weeks ago, so it's not as funny, but someone wrote like, "Hey, the English is getting in the way of my Chinese broadcast,"
Yeah,
because it was like Mandarin the whole time. But yeah. So we're gonna take 30 days off, and in podcasting life, that won't even feel like anything because we have 106 episodes, or now this is will be 107. Uh, but I think what it's going to do for us is we're going to come back with being able to have focused on not only our, business to business slash platform that we're selling, but some of the other stuff we're working on too. And I think it's just going to make some of the, like refresh some of this stuff for us. So there are no episodes to look forward to next week, but I think this week we kind of ended on a good note. Having Dan Norris on Monday, I think, was really cool. And so, what did you think of the interview? It was kind of like totally not related to apps, but I just like the book so much, and we know Dan a little bit, so it's kind of like let's get him on here and give let the audience know there's a free book out there, which is, by the way, number like 40 in all of Amazon right now. Well, all of Amazon Kindle right now.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's doing a really good job with that.
yeah. I mean, this is a dude who 10 days ago now was like, hey, we should write a book. And I mean, the book doesn't come off hastily written. The main points of his book are that, look, you can do more, and it's not about being like crazy Tasmanian devil doing all these things. It's more of focusing on the things that matter and not being distracted by the things that don't. And I mean, the dude wrote a book in 7 days, and it's legit. Like, it's a good book. And I know the people out there that are thinking 7 day startup, that's BS. No one can do a startup in 7 days. Well, if you read the book, you'll understand the premise, and you absolutely can and probably should. Yeah, I loved it, and I thought it was really cool to have him on, and it's cool to follow or see that he's doing well with that book. I mean, it's free, so he's not making any money, but just to have your work, kind of endorsed by the market in the form of, well, I guess if they're not paying for it, it's free. So it's still an endorsement. A lot of people are reading your stuff, so it's still cool. Um, you still there, David? I can't see you.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I think that episode was really cool, although it wasn't exactly what we talk about normally. But an app business isn't much different than a startup, at least in the sense that Dan talks about it. So yeah, I think that was very valuable. The next one, um,
Yeah, Dave, I'm losing you a little bit.
say kind of
Say it one more.
fast-paced.
Yeah.
The interview with Greg McGregor is
Yeah.
105, is it? Okay. Yeah, I think it was very fast-paced, dense interview where like we've been almost like it was very well prepared, though it wasn't at all, because every response was like packed with stuff, with content, right? And it was really intense and wasn't even that long, but it felt like um, what we normally would get to maybe in an hour, we got into like 31 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that interview did for me, as well as the conversation with Dan, was, well, one, I think a lot of people treat this has like been the major premise of that business podcast is, you know, these apps that people are building, it's great, but there's enough opportunity and enough upside and enough long term, this thing's going to be around for a while, to really treat this like a business. And so that's kind of what came out of the Dan Norris interview. But then that was like a point that was worth hammering home. But then when talking to Greg, it's like I forget how much I enjoy the business to business stuff. Um, and you're still selling to humans. It's still human to human, and you're just solving human problems, but the same way as consumer apps. But I just really enjoy like hearing the journey of we were doing this, and then we started taking on enterprise clients and government clients and heavy services, and then we productized it or packaged the services up and moved it down the chain, and that's just stuff I'm I'm super familiar with and super comfortable with and really enjoy. And um, I don't know. It's harder for us to find some of those people that want to talk and are interested because the audience isn't who they're going after. The audience is people making mobile apps, not buying their service. But I just find it really interesting when we get those guys on to chat about what their approach is. And yeah,
And
like you
I
said,
think what was really nice to see is that you can be a CEO of a company that mainly sells like business to business and still are really into the technology and really know what's going on. And I can't remember if he said he did some coding from time to time, but at least he was like really into the stuff and really knew how it worked down to like, okay, what data format does this return, or like what service is running this on, and these kinds of things.
yeah, it was funny though. You asked him to like compare it to AWS or something like that, and he was. I know he's thinking in his head like a brochure with a checklist. We've got the like feature by feature, benefit by benefit, and so he took a pause, but yeah, he definitely knows his stuff. And when I was replying to them telling them the episode was live, I remember his admin or his I don't know uh, was um, was telling us that his back. I think he even shared his background was in engineering or computer science. So he's definitely one of those guys. But like so many others, they even like Bill Gates, even they move out of that and start running the business, and they become like they go from coders to business guys. And but for being a business guy, like managing all this, he knew a lot of this stuff, which was really cool.
So tell me about the interview I haven't listened to yet. What am I going to take away from that?
Well, it was fast. It was like 20 minutes, and we'd been trying to get Hugh or Alex or someone from Sensor Tower on for a while, because so many people use Sensor Tower, and we're big fans, and then they're always pumping out stuff on the blog, and that's the work of Hugh. So it was cool to have him on, and we've chatted on email several times, but I think we've even talked a couple times, but nothing like this. And the funny thing is it was almost like a recap of best practices. So for someone who's newer or maybe have 10 apps and needs reminders or something like that, it was probably a really helpful episode. But for folks who've done this a while, it's like, okay, yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I read that podcast, that blog. Yeah, I read that blog post. There wasn't a whole lot of new stuff because, again, the idea was we were going to have them on to talk about how the changes in iOS 8 have impacted ASO, and there just hasn't been any. Like an example would be, let's see, they just wrote a post on something where you'd think it would make an impact, but it didn't. Was it name of the video? No. I don't know, the bottom line is it didn't make an impact. It'll come to me in a second, but there wasn't much new stuff. And I guess, like one of the biggest things is, hey, you can package your apps in bundles, and the bundle then has its own keywords. It's almost like a marketing hack, not really, value-packed stuff you can do right now to your apps. But again, we thought we would be having the data like, hey, your app has been viewed this many times and downloaded this many times, and now you have a conversion rate, and you can try to figure out why. Is it the relevance of the keywords? Is it your screenshots? Is it your ratings? Is it your crappy icon? We thought we'd have all that data, and we just didn't. So it was a good reminder that we probably do need a break from the podcast because, look, we're all geared up for all these things in iOS 8, and they're not here yet. So it was kind of a good one to end in this little chunk on. Because it was short, quick, and then hopefully, in 30 days when we come back, there'll be some like, hey, I'm ready for this topic. I'm ready for this topic. Dude, we've been pumping out 3 or 4 a week for a while. I doubt, only the rabid fans are like caught up with all this stuff that we've been pumping out. Like we're not even caught up. Like we're like, hold on, I forget that episode. Oh yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. But so yeah, Hugh's a really nice guy, and he enjoys the mobile stuff, and So it's cool to talk to him about this kind of stuff, and he knows Sensor Tower inside and out. I don't think, or I know he doesn't have his own apps yet, and it's just not a focus. He's got a podcast on something outside of mobile, like trading currencies and stuff. So he's got his hands in a bunch of different things. Um, yeah, so it was interesting, but I told him come back when we got some iOS 8 stuff.
Yeah, cool. It's definitely good to have people back on the podcast after some time. I think that's also something we'll be able to do, when we took a break and everything has settled down a little bit, and then we can keep going back to the people we had on and ask them if they had something new to talk about and these kinds of things. Yeah, also, just taking a break to get some more material, right? So get some more experiences in different things, and then be able to talk about them back on the podcast is something I'm really looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I mean, just not having to record yesterday and prepare topics was awesome, and I got so much done. And it's like that's what that we shouldn't be losing a day to the podcast. I even threw out some ideas in the Facebook group, like would a 15-minute morning news segment where it's not like a how-to episode, but it's more of like here's what's going on in mobile today, and so it's just a routine. 5 days a week there's a 15-minute update, and that's it. Where you're prepared just because you're on top of the news and not having to prepare a specific topic, right?
Yeah.
But I really like this podcast. Like I really like what we're doing here. So it's not like I want to change it too much, but the main thing is just like what we preach. Hey, we got Opt-in Mobile that's got some real potential, and we need to dominate that. And we've got this App Business MBA and Dojo thing that needs a lot of love and attention, and for the people who listen to the podcast and are ready to like really make stuff happen, and and connect with other people that are investing in their education and stuff. That's where we need to be. We need to move ourselves up a little bit. So. And then I got consulting projects and new apps and all this kind of stuff. So it's like it'll be fun to focus on some stuff that has like real trackable revenue coming in.
Yeah, and we'll keep telling people like focus on one thing and then execute and make it happen and see if it works. And we just need to do this right now for ourselves because it's just too much at the same time.
Yeah, but like I said, in podcast life, no one will even notice 30 days. It's going to go by really fast. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, even yesterday was awesome. And then with Opt-in Mobile, it's they do this a lot in the DC where they have these case studies, or what would you call it, like recaps of how things were unfolded or developed. And that would be something that's really, I think, useful to share on the podcast is kind of our next 30 days experience with Opt-in Mobile. Driving users or clients or prospects to finding this platform and updating platforms and releasing on Google Play and whatever other stores we decide to do. And there's a lot there that we're gonna grow a lot in the next 30 days because these are things I haven't done before. Like I've never released an app on Amazon. I've never updated 8 different companies, or how many do we have? 15 different companies' apps at the same time. You know what I mean? So
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a challenge, but we just think the upside's there. So it's time to like triple down on it.
Definitely.
In the meantime, though, the newsletter is going to keep going out. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, I would go do that. We also have some announcements that we've got this like. We get the same questions often about how to build an app, how to make an app, kind of like a beginning step-by-step thing. So we're putting together some videos and tutorials there. I think we're going to release it as a podcast too, just because it's got audio, but it won't be like this one. And so I would say the best way to kind of connect with what we're doing is get onto the newsletter. So appbusinesspodcast.com. What do we got? We got the weekly roundup. Stay informed. We've got. I can't see it because my admin bar is on top, but it's got like a green bar on top. I mean, there's lots of ways to find the newsletter. So, that would be a good place to go to stay connected with us.
Good point. Yeah. So that's going to keep going. You're going to keep sending out the news that you find interesting, right? That's in
Yeah,
a newsletter.
yeah, because I'm doing it anyways, and it's also a good. Yeah, I like doing it. It's like an hour to do it, maybe. And Hazel helps with like pre-formatting the previous episodes and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's something I really enjoy. Uh, it's like a review of the week and a look ahead, and it's like a nice set for me to go. Okay, here's. Although it's been late the last 3 weeks or last 2 weeks, kind of by design though. Last week I held it because I wanted to finish the dojo before we announced the dojo. Um, so. But
Cool.
yeah, I think the newsletter is something that if I'm doing the newsletter in 3 years, that would be awesome. Like I really enjoy being able to add my voice to the conversation on that stuff. In fact, we probably need to get you more involved in some like developer perspective because I know the audience loves that stuff, and I know I do too. I think it's super valuable and interesting. Some of those kinds of things, like, hey, do you guys know about Hoodie? Check out Hoodie. Hey, do you know about these developer tools? That kind of
Hmm.
stuff. Um, but yeah, maybe we can talk about that more next week or on our Monday call. But yeah, it's fun, dude. We're at 100. This is 107, so 107 episodes, basically without taking a break, aside for like vacations, but not a break in the chain of episodes. And holy smokes, have we gone through a lot. So it's almost be fun. We didn't do our 100 episode like reflection, but it would be cool to take a look at okay, how long have we been doing this, and like how long have we been? Do you even know how long have we been doing three and four episodes a week? Like
Yeah, we don't know. Like
yeah,
we
we have no
started
clue.
a couple of months ago, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it just
It's
it just flows, man. It's just like this stream of podcast.
it seemed like we were on episode 20 and 30 and 40 and all of a sudden we're at 100, and I think that's because we started releasing a bunch at a time, but holy smokes, it went fast. Oh yeah, so we've been doing it, I kind of found it around the May time frame. We've been doing 3 a week. So yeah, man, that's a lot. 6 months in entrepreneur world, that's a lot of time. So um, yeah, maybe that's something we can do over the next 30 days too, is kind of reflect on what did we get done over the last 6 months.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Hmm.
So a lot of stuff to be coming back to once we turn on the podcast again. It's in about 30 days. Do we have an exact date, or do we just want to say
I don't
it's
know. I just
30
looked at
days?
October and said, okay, we'll take October off.
Yeah.
you know,
Okay then. So it's gonna be probably like 3rd of October, November or something like that. Um, yeah, but expect us to be back in about 30 days, and we have lots of stuff to come back to.
yeah. Facebook group and the newsletter. Those are the two.
Yeah,
And I
that's how
mean,
we can stay connected.
yeah, we hammer this home all the time. But I mean, the newsletter is like connected with us, and that's cool because we're trying to keep pushing things forward. But the Facebook group, and guys, I hate Facebook too. So maybe there's a forum on the dojo that we're not using, and maybe we could use that. I don't know. But I think David and I, if there's a theme over the 107 episodes, it's connect with other people that are doing this stuff, and it's amazing how fast you'll grow when you have others that you're talking to and connecting with. Just even reading, you don't even have to weigh in, although that's not advised, but just reading what other people are being challenged with is really helpful. So if that's something that you haven't done yet, or you're just not committed, or you don't like Facebook or whatever, it really is just the Facebook platform. Other than that, it's not like people are posting pictures of their cats and talking about what they ate. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say that if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, it's really worth doing because there's a lot of guys that are doing a lot of apps in there. Like in fact, we got to have Gregory on the podcast at some point because he's doing all sorts of. I'm on his test flight, and he's got all sorts of killer apps that I'm getting like
Mhm.
alerted to a new download. Um, so there's a lot of the guy, and yeah, I got tons of ideas about this, like listener weekly apps and stuff. But um, there's a ton of people that listen to this podcast that are doing really cool stuff in the App Store, and and they're one click away on Facebook, where you can connect with them on Facebook. So, yeah, I think that I hammered that point sufficiently home. Join the Facebook group.
One last speech. We couldn't end without it.
Oh God, yeah, I haven't even had coffee yet. So what else, David? Usually we would look ahead, but I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking ahead to in about 30 days.
Yeah.
And talk to you in the Facebook group. We'll still be there. We'll still be answering questions. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, David, and we'll see you guys on the next App Business podcast.